Hey, this is David the RV Shepherd. Today I wanted to go over this recent inspection of a 2022 Tiffin Allegro Red 38LL. This is a diesel pusher coach. We did an inspection on just yesterday. And let me say to start off with, this particular unit, I'm not saying this about all Tiffin Allegro Reds, but this particular unit was the cleanest unit that we have ever inspected. So to give you a quick example here, let me go down to the roof. This roof got the best roof award because it had no hits, no deficiencies at all. And I think this is the first of two RVs that we've had this kind of good report on an RV roof like ever. We've only had two that have had no issues. The front end cap corner, the left and right side, or the back end cap, or on some of these, some of these components up here, where the sealant is, or something about them. Maybe it's a drain vent. Sometimes they're not secured very well, but this particular one, it was great. Further down, I did have found one of the ladder mount points. The screw mount for it was pulling away just a bit. You can see that here right below the red arrow. I tell you, I don't trust RV ladders at all. They work, whatever, but they just feel flimsy. It feels to me, on every one of them, doesn't matter what manufacturer it is, it feels like that, it was built by the person who won the lowest bid. And so because they won the lowest bid, that means we got the cheapest ladder that we could get for the money. And that just makes me nervous. So you feel them, they feel a little wiggly. I mean, most of them are pretty firm, but I don't know. I just don't get the same confidence I get when climbing up like my house aluminum ladder that I get and fold out, that I use for inspections. We did see some cosmetic scratches on the side, really just one or two, actually just two. One was right here, kind of forward of the curbside slide out. This is a bedroom slide out. The other one is actually on the frame for this slide out, and that is right here. This particular one, it was really one of three things. One, the screw was tightened down too much and it caused the paint to crack. Two, there was some kind of foreign material like a hair or some kind of string material or something like that got all tangled up in there. Or three, the paint is just cracking. I tried to flick it with my finger, to feel it real good to tell which of those three it was. Couldn't really determine. And again, it's not really a big deal. This is the frame. This whole section right here is the frame of the slide out. When the slide out comes in, it pushes up against this to seal it closed. Further down, let's go through the rest of the inspection. I found this curious piece of tape on the top of the slide out, right underneath this sweep seal. This was the street side slide out. This is right behind the driver's window. And then here's a close-up of it. Again, why it's there, it's a piece of black duct tape. Didn't see any anywhere else. I don't know why it's there. Couldn't determine that, but just wanted to identify it for our client, the prospective buyer. We did see inside some signs of some wear on the floor from the street side slide out. So street side is code word for driver's side. I don't know why we don't just say driver's side. I guess maybe if you're making an RV for Europe, the driver's side is the opposite side, but I don't know. Anyway, street side is the driver's side, and there's almost a full wall, a pretty lengthy slide out on that side. And this wear right here is from one of two things. It's either a roller that's not rolling properly, or it is just dragging some way. I suspect more of a roller in this. A lot of this white stuff right here, if you rubbed it with your finger, would actually come up. So I think this is fairly early on. There's a little bit of indentation on this tile, but I don't think it's super severe. And probably either the roller needs to be lubricated so it rolls properly, or the slide out needs to be aligned towards the upward direction a little bit. I've actually got another video I'm going to link to below, and in that video I'll link with the exact timestamp of that part where I talk about the slide out. The slide out on that particular RV, the other RV is a 2018 Fleetwood Bounder, has some wear, but it's on the bottom of the slide. So instead of being on the floor on the interior, the wear is on the slide, and I think that one is probably caused from the slide actually dragging and catching on the opening in the wall. And I described that all in that video, but I wanted to mention it here, and that link will be below. Tell me, do you have anything like this on your floor inside where you see wear marks from the slide out? I'd love to know. Let me know below. I thought this was interesting. One of the tires, so one of the things we always check on here is the date of the tires, and you can see this front tire was dated 4020, so this is the 40th week of the year 2020, and so that's, you know, October-ish or so, whereas all the rest of the tires were 1021. That's the 10th week of the 21st year, which puts you somewhere around March-ish, somewhere mid-March. And I don't know why. I mean, they were all fine, but just this one tire had a different date on it. So I thought that was kind of curious. Again, these manufacturers, they're pulling tires out of piles and putting them on these RVs as they're going through the factory manufacturing. Here's just some undercarriage overview pictures. These are just kind of general pictures of. This is kind of the rear differential area by the rear drive tires, and here's one from behind that differential looking forward. Some overview pictures there. Let's go down here. One thing we do is a hot skin test every time, and I like to put pictures in there that show people, you know, here's just an example test point near the door showing that there's no voltage going to the frame of the RV. The danger here is that an electrified frame, so you're plugged into shore power, and I guess it could happen with a generator too, some electricity is being sent to the frame of that RV, and the danger here is that if you are touching the RV and touching the ground at the same time, you could potentially cause a circuit through your body. We like to call that electrocution, if the voltage is high enough. And so this shows that there's no voltage, but imagine if you were barefooted and you were stepping on maybe the entry step, and then you go down with your other foot and step on the ground, and now voltage is traveling through your body from the electrified frame down to the ground. That would be a not good thing. So I usually include a picture like that, and or a picture like this, which is another test point near where the power comes in. Call that the highest concentration of power. I also provide a picture of, we do an inspection of the inside of the breaker panel, and I always provide a picture of that as well. I'm going to link also below to another video of a recent inspection we did where we opened up this breaker panel and found it melted. It was not good. Lots of browning of these wire insulation, a lot of shrink back from temperature. One of these right here, these kind of bus bars that are mounted to the side, this is a plastic box. The plastic was all melted right there too. Not good situation. That was on a different RV. I will link that one below as well. And then let's see. This was kind of interesting. I don't know if you'll be able to see all this on a vertical, but the LP system was sealed with no test points available. Therefore, we weren't able to provide or perform an LP leak test. We always do. If the RV has an LP system, we do an LP leak test to make sure the LP system is secure. There's not, propane gas leaking out somewhere while you're sleeping. You don't want that to happen because that can result in death. But we weren't able to do one on this. My number one favorite spot to perform these LP tests, leak test is from an outside LP connection point. Usually those are for like an outdoor grill. You can plug it in and you can use the onboard propane to run your outdoor grill. Those are great. It's also a great and convenient place to perform a leak test. If that's not available, then the second place is at the cooktop inside the kitchen, where what we'll usually do is take off one of the burners and connect to the supply port for that LP gas there, and we'll do a leak test from there. But this particular RV, the cooktop, was a sealed unit. There was no way to take off. Basically, you had to take off the entire cooktop and disconnect it from the gas, which that was not something I was willing to do, or that should be done as part of an inspection. But it's okay to take off a burner. So with both of those options not available, we couldn't do the leak test on this particular unit. On most Class A RVs that have an open door that's towards the front, you'll see a door awning, and then you'll see a larger, just call it patio awning for a little bit further back. This one has LED lights embedded in that awning right here where these arrows are, and we could not get those lights to come on. The lights on the main awning did come on just fine, but we couldn't get these to come on. And it's either a lighting issue or it's a panel issue, because we also noted that this control panel did not do well in the sense of pushing buttons. You kind of had to wiggle your finger, like you're pushing the extend door awning, and it would stop, and you kind of wiggle your finger a little bit and it'd stop, and then you get a thumbs up bubble like right here. But you kind of had to wiggle your finger or push harder, and it wasn't like just pushing hard all the time would make it work. It's like you push hard and it would just stop working, and you kind of wiggle your finger again. So that particular switch panel may be getting tired. Here's a little thing, but this is kind of a convenience thing. All four corners on a burner cooktop like this should have these rubber grommets, and the main purpose of those rubber grommets is to keep this from becoming a rattle cage while you're going down the highway. If you're going down the highway and there's not rubber grommets, then the metal on metal will make a bunch of rattling noise, and so this was missing one of those. We wanted to make sure to point that out. Going down some more, we did have, I think this is where we're getting to, a little leak. Yeah, so in the RV, this is in the mid-bathroom. This particular RV had a mid-bath and an aft bath. This particular one in the mid-bath, when we first got there, we noticed a little bit of water right here on the floor. I went in and did a further inspection and found this is a drain pipe. It's hard to see in this picture. I'll show you a video. Up here at the top, the drain pipe's actually coming down from the sink, and then it turns and runs along the floor. But you can see in this picture there's a little bit of water there as well. Okay, here's a video of that same spot, and as I look under, kind of almost looking upside down, I don't know, let's see if I can pause it real quick. Oh, pause it. Well, I'll pause it when we come back. See this dust and stuff right here, and how it's all dusty and dry back here, but further up it's not. Let's see if I can catch it. Nope, gotta back up. Right about here. This area right here where my mouse is also kind of wet, or was wet, and has dried up. You can tell the difference. There's all this dry, flaky, this is like sawdust from construction, but up here it's not that there's not any, there is some, but it has gotten wet. But that's looking back through this tube, like under the counter. So under the counter where I'm pointing my finger, and then down this wooden enclosure basically is just hiding it so it looks nicer, and then it usually goes down into the bottom of the RV and towards the back where the tank is. I don't think it's a big deal. We don't see any sign of damage or anything like that. Water leaks, water intrusion doesn't cause damage overnight. Like, it doesn't leak once and bam, it's damaged forever. It's usually repeated exposure to water over time that causes problems. And if I had to guess, it's probably this connection right here needs some address. It probably just needs to be remade. Probably needs to be taken apart, either cut it out and put new connection pieces in, or glue new ones, or whatever needs to be redone. The bottom drawer under the cooktop was falling out of the slide sides. It wasn't connected very well. It would tip over kind of diagonally, And so that's something that obviously need to be fixed. No big deal. And that's it for this 2022 Tiffin Allegro Red 38LL. Again, this was the cleanest in the sense of maintenance and care of any RV that we've inspected in the 2.5 years that we've been inspecting RVs. This was a very, very good unit. Again, not always that way. We have inspected units like this. I've inspected a $300,000 Tiffin RV that had 4 slide outs, and it was brand new from the factory, and all 4 slide outs went out and only 1 slide out would come in because there was some kind of hydraulic valve problem. But that's part of the reason why RV inspections exist, so that you can become an informed buyer by having an inspection to tell you what is or isn't wrong with the RV. I would rather get an inspection tell me everything's great, which I have never inspected an RV that had nothing wrong with it. The question is, do you know what's wrong with the RV you're thinking about buying? Listen, I'm David, the RV Shepherd. I'd love it if you would like or subscribe for more like this to become educated on RVs. And again, link below for a couple of things that I mentioned that are in other videos. And if you have any comments or thoughts or things maybe you saw in this video that I didn't point out, I'd love to hear about them. Comment below, and we'll see you next time in the next video. I'm David. Bye-bye.